the word radio to 83393.
Is this the tackle?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If the Dodgers repeat as World Series champions, they will have to do it in Toronto. The Dodgers' 6-2 loss Tuesday night in Game 4 ensures a Game 6 in Toronto on Friday night. The best-of-7 series is now tied at 2 apiece. For one of the few times in this postseason, Dodger star Shohei Ohtani did not have a dominant performance. He gave up 4 runs and 6 hits in 7 innings of work, and he was 0 for 3 at the plate and struck out twice. A very important Game 5 is at Dodger Stadium tonight, first pitch at 5 o'clock. The final attendance numbers are in from Saturday's Magic City Classic in Birmingham, Alabama. The popular HBCU football game featuring Alabama State versus Alabama A&M drew a crowd of 69,372 at Birmingham's famous Legion Field. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you missed the recent Left Coast Forum, then you really missed out. An insightful presentation from Professor Richard Wolff, a call to action from LA Mayor Karen Bass, an insider's view on Prop 50 and the government shutdown from Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove, and as usual, Dr. Cornel West brought down the House with a powerful closing keynote. And many of the plenary sessions were standing room only. Check out our social media posts for photos and video of what you missed at the Left Coast Forum and make plans to attend one of our upcoming events. Our next Altadena Town Hall is Thursday, November 6th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena. We're going to interrogate SoCal Edison's settlement fund and see what's really going on with this fire recovery program. And our KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair is Saturday, November the 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here in Lamert Park at Catch at Audubon Middle School. All the details about these upcoming events can be found at our website, kbla1580.com. So thanks again to all those who supported the Left Coast Forum, and a special thanks to our partners this year. The LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, Partnership for Growth, UTLA, LA Care Health Plan, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and the Liberty Hill Foundation. I'm Tavis, Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour of our program. 2 conversations in this second hour as promised. On the backside of this hour, there are cracks on the left when it comes to this government shutdown. The top federal workers union made a break with Democrats yesterday on the shutdown. I told you we would get Everett Kelley, who's the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, on this program today. Indeed, we did, and we'll talk to him on the backside of this hour and let him explain to you why his union is calling for an end to the shutdown without the health care measures sought by Democrats. There are cracks on the left, but there are also cracks on the right. Republicans have been largely unified about their strategy of keeping the House out of session and refusing to negotiate with Democrats, but the cracks are growing. Dissent over their shutdown strategy spilled out on a private GOP call yesterday afternoon. We'll talk to Fox News commentator and American Spectator contributing editor Deroy Murdock in just a moment after I give you what I promised I'd give you at the top of this hour to honor my promise. So we spent the first hour talking about Jesse Jackson, the new book. In case you've just tuned in, there's a new book out by Abby Phillip, anchor, as you know, weeknights on CNN. Her new book is called A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson, The Fight for Black Political Power. It's a detailed treatise on the work and the witness of Jesse Jackson, specifically around these 84 and 88 campaigns, and the impact still being felt all these years later by those campaigns. I had a great conversation with Abby. In case you missed that conversation, check out the podcast when it's posted later today. It was an amazing dialogue with Abby about her new book on the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Once again, it's called A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson and the Fight for Black Political Power. I closed that hour, the first hour that is, by playing a clip, an amazing clip, I thought, from his convention speech in 88 in Atlanta at the DNC. But just to bring this thing full circle, it all started, though, in terms of these two major speeches in 84 at the Democratic Convention in San Francisco. Just a taste of Jesse that special night.
I'm more convinced than ever that we can win. We have fought up the rough side of the mountain. We can win. I just want young America to do me one favor. Just one favor. Exercise the right to dream. You must face reality, that which is, but then dream of the reality that ought to be, that must be. Live beyond the pain of reality with the dream of a bright tomorrow. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress. Use love to motivate you and obligate you to serve the human family. Young America, dream.
That's Jesse Jackson in '84 at the convention in San Francisco. Again, I highly recommend the book. It's called A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson and the Fight for Black Political Power, written by the CNN anchor Abby Phillip. All right, Deroy Murdock is with us, Fox News commentator, American Spectator contributing editor, and Daily Signal columnist. Deroy, good to have you back on the program. How are you, sir?
Tavis, it's great to be on with you, and I must say, listening to that recording of Everett Jackson, I was in the room when that happened. I was actually an eyewitness to that speech. I was covering the 1984 Democratic Convention for New Guard, which is the magazine of Young Americans for Freedom. So we were part of the press corps there, and I was in the room listening to Jesse Jackson speak. And I can't necessarily tell you that I agreed with everything he said, but boy, what a tremendously well-spoken and passionate advocate for his views, and somebody who's obviously great behind the podium and great on television and terribly energetic and all that. So he was somebody who was just always on the political scene every day. You know, again, agree or disagree with him, man, was Johnny on the spot. And I said, I've not seen him in a long time. I mean, do you know what condition he's in or what shape he's in? Or how he's doing?
We just talked about it. You know, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's some time ago, and I was in Chicago a few weeks ago, went to visit him. So the Parkinson's is, you know, it's taking its toll as it does, so he's weak of body but strong of mind. I was just saying in the last hour before you came on to answer your question that he's in a convalescent home in Chicago, but his mind is sharp as ever. I went to spend some time with him, and he can only speak in a whisper these days, but I leaned in real close to listen to him, Deroy. He started talking about our policy on Ukraine and Russia. He was whispering to me about Israel and Gaza. I mean, his mind is still there, and he's, you know, again, he can't open his eyes these days, really. But he's sitting there listening to news and information all day long. So he's still as tapped in as he ever was. As I said earlier, it's in his DNA. He's at that point where he's making that turn, as we all will at some point. I call it a dance with mortality. None of us gets out of here alive, as I said earlier. But no, his mind is still there. And again, it was just a blessing to see him in Chicago just a few weeks ago, but no question about it. And I hear your point that you don't agree with him politically, but his impact in terms of pushing the Democratic Party, I think, is unquestioned.
Correct. That, and also just tremendous visibility. That's one thing, as you say. You know, we don't stay 25 forever, unfortunately, and
that's right.
You know, you reach a point where somebody who's on the TV, on the news, on the radio every day, all the time, suddenly isn't there, or not suddenly, but gradually isn't there, and then you think to yourself, gee, I've not seen him for a while. How's he doing? So I'm glad you guys had an opportunity to spend some time together. It was, I'm sure, great for you and certainly great for him, and glad to hear that at least mentally he's staying on top of things and following the news and so forth. That's great.
So that's the Jesse Jackson story, at least for today's program. I appreciate Deroy's comments, and so you never know how these dots connect. Here we are playing a Jesse clip, and who knew that Deroy, even though he's a black conservative, was covering the convention in '84. So he was in the room when Jesse gave that speech in San Francisco. Who knew, again, those dots were going to connect in that way? It's a beautiful thing. When we come forward with Deroy, we'll talk about why I really invited him on this program, and that is, speaking of the right, to talk about the cracks on the right that are starting to show. As I mentioned earlier, there are cracks on both sides. So I want to talk to Deroy about these cracks on the right and what we learned from this private call that went public yesterday. Republicans, having some infighting, certainly some conversation, some divisions, I'll put it that way, erupted in this private call about their shutdown strategy. We'll talk to Deroy Murdock about that when we come forward.
California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hollywood swinging.
Megan Good, Michael Hyatt, Golden Brooks, Ty Burrell, Christine Devine. They're all coming together on Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios for the Kits Film Awards, a red carpet celebration of young filmmakers from right here in Los Angeles. Presented by Kids in the Spotlight. The Kids Film Awards showcase original short films written, cast, and performed by local youth. Powerful stories across every genre, from drama and comedy to action and suspense. It's a night that blends Hollywood energy with real community spirit, highlighting the future voices of film. These are the next generation of storytellers stepping onto one of Hollywood's biggest stages. Come out and experience a night filled with film, music, and inspiration, where creativity, community, and purpose meet. Tickets are available now at kitsinc.org. That's KITSINC.org. The 2025 Kits Film Awards, Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Deroy Murdock, Fox News commentator, American Spectator contributing editor, and Daily Signal columnist. So I mentioned a moment ago that there was a call yesterday afternoon, and it gives us some insight into the dissent inside the Republican Party about this shutdown strategy. Deroy, you surprised by these cracks?
Not too much. I mean, when you've got 218 people of any sort, you're going to get people to start to disagree with things, especially after, day 29, day 30. This has been going on for about a month. But you don't have a lot of people on the other side of the crack, if you will. You've got, obviously, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's got some questions about the GOP House's strategy. But I think almost everybody else is, maybe one or two exceptions or three exceptions are with Mike Johnson on this. And, he said, and a lot of us have said, that the Democrats, the House passed this continuing resolution. The Senate tried to pass it, and you need to have 60 votes in the Senate. So, even with every Republican except Rand Paul supporting this thing, you need to get another, 5 or 6 Democrats to get this thing off the, out of filibuster and onto the floor to be voted on. And these Republicans in the Senate put up one vote after another, saying, okay, if we pass this and reopen the government, the soldiers, the GIs in the military will get paid. If we pass this and reopen the government, the air traffic controllers will get paid. There was a vote, I think, just yesterday saying that if we reopen the government and the shutdown, the money will flow for food stamps, the SNAP program, and there are a lot of people, millions of folks who need nutrition assistance. And as of, if you're on SNAP, you better get to the grocery store before Halloween, because as of November 1, that money runs out. And you would think that Democrats, which always say that they're the party that supports needy people and so on, that they would say, all right, well, we got to help the people out. This is kind of our base. I think 80% or 75 or 80% of people on food stamps are Democrats, and yet they voted no. They voted against this. So I'm not sure what else the Democrat or the Senate can do other than, have all the Republicans in the Senate and all. But I think I believe it was unanimous in the House vote for this thing, for the continuing resolution, which the Democrats have voted for in favor 13 times. And they keep putting these additional things, saying, we'll put special money in, make sure that SNAP continues, that food stamps continue, that the TSA people get paid, that the GIs get paid, and the Schumer shutdown and Schumer filibuster continue, and the government stays closed. And I understand people getting frustrated, but I'm not sure what else the Republicans can do other than vote unanimously to reopen the government. And you just don't have can't get the extra 6 or 7 Democrats you need in order to reopen the government and get back to normal.
When you ask that question, not at all rhetorically, I hope, about what Republicans can do, there is something they can do. They could start with ending this refusal to even come to the negotiating table with Democrats. That's part of what we heard that came out in this call yesterday, that it was Marjorie Taylor Greene and others. She wasn't the only one. Dan Crenshaw of Texas. There were others on that call who were raising questions about whether or not this strategy of refusing to negotiate with Democrats is a sound strategy. What say you about that?
Well, yeah, I'm all for the negotiations. I'll mention in a minute, I think something that might be the grand compromise here. But, in order to have the negotiations, which could go on for weeks and weeks, I mean, this is not an easy issue. Reopen the government, let the air traffic controllers show up and make sure the planes don't smack into each other. Let the TSA folks get paid so we make sure people who get on planes should be on planes, not folks who shouldn't be on them. And people who need public assistance get the public assistance, and then with all that back to normal, you can have discussions. Now, I think the one thing that could be a way that could make everyone happy is to say, look, in terms of subsidies for health care, I don't think that should be going to illegal aliens who broke into this country. If you came in here illegally, I don't think you ought to be getting any help. But if you're here legally, you're an American citizen, or you're a legal immigrant, and you need assistance with health care, how about this? Whatever the subsidies are you're going to get, you'll get it in the terms of a voucher. If you want to use that for Obamacare, great. If you want to use that for a catastrophic individual plan with high deductible, you can do that. If you want to get an association health plan, that'll be available. Anybody who wants a health savings account can have it. So basically, the Democrats will get the subsidies that they want, and Republicans and conservatives will get the choice, the freedom, and the ability to shop around that we like. That'll be something that makes everybody happy, and that might be a way of getting out of this. But I think a way to get there is to reopen the government, make sure that public services people pay for what their taxes are delivered, and then people could sit down and have a sensible negotiation, try to come up with something that's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people.
I hear your idea. It's worth noodling, except that, again, you can't get to that point if the two sides can't come together and agree to some sort of framework to make that happen. Just jumping out there and reopening government and then trying to address those issues, I think, is backwards. That's just my read of it. But one of the other issues that came out in this conversation yesterday, we were told, are concerns that were raised about Mike Johnson keeping the House, the Speaker, that is, keeping the House in recess during the shutdown. So it's one thing to not come to the negotiating table to negotiate in good faith with Democrats. It's another thing to lose all these days of getting other work down because you're keeping the House in recess. And we're told that there were Republicans who raised concerns about that issue, them being in recess all this time as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that there's a real question there, because to the degree that there is money to turn the lights on the Hill. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the funding is as to what is or is not in the legislative budget, but assuming that the money is there, there's no reason in my view why they can't be having oversight hearings, having confirmation hearings on the Senate side for people who have judicial nominations or nominations for ambassador or whatever else it is. There's no reason I think they can't be passing legislation and debating on it. And some stuff the Democrats like might pass. Sometimes some stuff they dislike might pass. But the House ought to be able to continue doing its work while the rest of the government, basically essentially mainly the executive branch, is closed, if they have the money to do it. I don't know if the funding is such that they're able even to meet in session of the House. But that seems to me that they can walk and chew gum at the same time as far as this goes.
Yep. Again, one other piece of this storyline that broke yesterday about this private call where there was some angst. And again, I to Deroy's point, he's right about this. By and large, Republicans, as I said earlier, are largely unified around their strategy of keeping the House out of session, refusing to negotiate with Democrats. But again, that's why we call it a crack. There are some cracks starting to show. And we are told one of these Republicans in this meeting yesterday said that if we negotiate in good faith within the apropos process, we may break the ice jam. If we negotiate in good faith within the apropos process, we may break the ice jam. That makes sense to me. What's wrong with that?
You mean Republicans negotiating with themselves or negotiating
with Democrats? With Democrats, yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, again, I think the negotiation's fine, and I'll give you a rough idea of what I would do or what I'd propose or where this might end up. But I think that the leverage, to use that word I've heard a few times already, to get the Democrats to the table to say, look, you got to reopen the government. Because, especially when you're dealing with something like health care, which is a very complicated issue, and there are many, many, bells and whistles and, loose parts to this thing. I don't see that as a 2 or 3 day negotiation that probably goes on for a week or 2 or 3. I mean, remember how long it took to put Obamacare together? That was probably a better part of a year, maybe more. So, I mean, if that's how long that negotiation goes on, does the government stay closed? And we have all these problems with air traffic controllers not getting paid, soldiers maybe don't get paid. I think that thankfully this private citizen showed up and wrote a check for $130 million to pay the GIs. If he hadn't been there, you'd have people in armed forces wondering how to get dinner tonight. So I would say let's get back to normal, let the government function, and then sit down at a table and have exactly the kind of discussion we're talking about. And I don't think that's a quick negotiation. That's probably something that's going to go on for at least a couple weeks. So let's not have the government closed until Thanksgiving before we can have some sort of a deal and move forward and turn the lights back on.
To your point about advancing toward Thanksgiving in just weeks from now, and to your earlier point as well about these SNAP benefits being cut, you saw these more than 2 dozen states suing Trump, his administration, over this food cutoff. It's about to get really, really funky. These food lines are about to grow. What's your read of how Republicans are going to start to feel how these cracks may grow when these food lines start to grow?
Well, I imagine if they are going to be like you described, that's not going to be very pretty footage to show. But look, what I would do, I mean, I'm surprised that they've not done political ads to explain to people what's going on. I think the speeches by John Thune today in particular and the speeches by Mike Johnson kind of explain what the GOP's view is on this. But I mean, I think to the degree that they had a vote in the Senate, I think it was yesterday, saying, look, we want the money for food stamps to be out there. Vote to reopen the government, and people will get their benefits on Saturday. And the Democrats, 6 of them, all they needed was 6 of them to move over, 5 of them to agree with the GOP Senate and about 3 or so Democrats. That would have been approved. The shutdown would end, the money would flow, everybody would be happy. But instead, you've had all but 3, I think, Democrats say, nope, we're not going to do that. And again, this is not like, okay, this is money for tax cuts or this is money for some new defense weapon that Democrats might not like. This is for benefits of many people who are in the Democrat base. If I were a sort of loyal Democrat voter who happens to be on food stamps, and I'm thinking, okay, where am I going to get my dinner tonight? And I'm looking at Chuck Schumer thinking, you voted against that Republican bill to feed me tonight, and you voted no. What's going on here? I thought you guys were supposed to be on my side. And I think Republicans probably want to make that point a little more loudly, and I think a lot of people might be quite surprised to hear it.
Yep, I think Democrats' view of that is obviously quite different. This administration could have made sure that these SNAP benefits went through November weeks ago, and they chose not to do that. So you can blame the Democrats, but Donald Trump's president and his party is in control. They could have made sure that these benefits went through November again, as I said, weeks ago, and they chose not to do that. I digress on that for now. I've got about 4 minutes left here. I want to turn to this right quick. We'll get to the Democratic cracks in a moment. Everett Kelley is our guest on the backside of this hour. He runs the largest federal government union, and they really put Democrats in a tight spot, as I see it yesterday. by coming out demanding that the shutdown end immediately, that there be a clean resolution. I want to hear his point of view because I think he and I are going to disagree on this, but I want to hear Everett and what he has to say in about 5-6 minutes from now. But in the few minutes I have left with Deroy, I happen to know that Deroy lives in New York, and I know that because every time he talks to me, there's a siren in the background, and today we haven't heard it as yet, so I'm waiting on it. I got 4 minutes left to hear that siren of some ambulance running through the street, chasing through the streets, running through the streets of New York City. Haven't heard it as yet. But you're in New York, and this mayor's race is coming up. I've talked to many others about this. I've not had a chance to talk to a black conservative about this mayor's race who happens to live in New York City. So broadly speaking, tell me what your read of this race is, and I may have a quick follow-up or two.
Sure thing. Well, the reason you're not hearing any sirens or noise in the background, the phone may catch fire and your transmitter may explode when I say this, but I'm actually sitting in my office at Fox News right now. That's why it's so nice.
Wow.
You people are hearing the inside
This audience didn't need to know that, but go ahead. I'm just teasing. Okay.
Yeah. Hope people's ears aren't burning. But yeah, we've got the election in less than a week, and as of right now, Zoran Mamdani is comfortably ahead, but people have been raising questions about him about how far left he is he a Hamas supporter? All of these things have been floating around. I'm sure you and your listeners are familiar with that. There is an interesting division. We've been talking about cracks among Republicans. Some of us believe our nominee, Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels, is a guy who's very pro law and order. He's talking about tax cuts. He's talking about school choice. He's running on Republican issues, and I think he deserves the support of Republicans and other voters who believe in what he does. And then you've got other people who are saying, well, quote unquote, he can't win, vote for Cuomo because he's a far left Democrat, but he's not a Marxist, democratic socialist, whatever term you want to use. And so there is some division on the right, and I've had discussions with people I've known for many years, some of whom are sticking with Sliwa, some of whom are going with Cuomo. One of my big concerns about Andrew Cuomo is what his behavior during COVID-19 when he forced COVID-positive seniors to go back into nursing homes, and the healthy seniors who were not infected suddenly got infected, and about 12,700 of them died. Just awful. And so I think, to me, that's a deal killer. When you're responsible for the deaths of almost 13,000 seniors, you shouldn't be running for office. You ought to be indicted for negligent homicide. So I think Cuomo ought to get out of this race and just have a two-man race between Mamdani and Sliwa. And people have a very clear choice of going left or going right. And I like elections where you've got a clear choice rather than somebody like Andrew Cuomo kind of muddying it up in the middle.
Well, as you well know, that ain't going to happen. Cuomo is not going to get out of this race with a week or so to go.
A man can dream.
Yeah. And more to the point, there's a new poll out that suggests that Cuomo has sliced Mamdani's lead in half for this mayor's race. To Deroy's point, Mamdani still is far out front. Still got a significant lead, but Cuomo, since Eric Adams dropped out of the race, this new poll suggests has cut Mamdani's lead in half. So it's tightening up, if one can use that phrase. We will see what happens days from now. But they do, in fact, have three choices. They've got Sliwa, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican. You've got Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, and you have Andrew Cuomo, former governor, running on an independent ticket. You all know that, of course. So we'll see what happens in the city of New York. For now, Deroy Murdock, we thank you, a Fox News commentator in his office at Fox News right now. I'll let him get back to that. American Spectator contributing editor and Daily Signal columnist. Deroy, thanks for your insights. I appreciate your right point of view, that is to say, on the right, not that it is right, but I digress on that. I'll talk to you soon. Stay strong.
That's capital R right, not small R
there
right.
There you go. Talk to you later.
All right, Tavis.
All right.
Nice to talk to you. Take care.
All right.
Bye
So
now,
when we come forward, the cracks on the Democratic side of this government shutdown, we'll talk to Everett Kelley of this major union when we come forward on Tavis, Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Jamaica is reeling from Hurricane Melissa, one of the worst storms on record. Some residents evacuated, others did not, and even those who followed orders are suffering.
We have never seen anything like this in Jamaica. And so we have to have everyone prepared and listen.
A Jamaican official told CNN they prepared, but the damage is widespread and devastating. International aid is pouring into Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa's landfall. Groups like the Red Cross, Project Hope, and Direct Relief are providing food, shelter, and medical care. And Tyler Perry is facing some backlash
in Jamaica. And so we have to have everyone prepared and listen.
A Jamaican official told CNN they prepared, but the damage is widespread and devastating. International aid is pouring into Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa's landfall. Groups like the Red Cross, Project Hope, and Direct Relief are providing food, shelter, and medical care. And Tyler Perry is facing some backlash after donating $100,000 to singer and Detroit pastor Marvin Winans. Winans went viral for scolding a church member who gave less than the $2,000 he requested during a fundraiser. Perry says he stands by Winans and his mission. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If the Dodgers repeat as World Series champions, they will have to do it in Toronto. The Dodgers' 6-2 loss Tuesday night in Game 4 ensures a Game 6 in Toronto on Friday night. The best-of-7 series is now tied at 2 apiece. For one of the few times in this postseason, Dodger star Shohei Ohtani did not have a dominant performance. He gave up 4 runs and 6 hits in 7 innings of work, and he was 0 for 3 at the plate and struck out twice. A very important Game 5 is at Dodger Stadium tonight. First pitch at 5 o'clock. The final attendance numbers are in from Saturday's Magic City Classic in Birmingham, Alabama. The popular HBCU football game featuring Alabama State versus Alabama A&M drew a crowd of 69,372 at Birmingham's famous Legion Field. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you missed the recent Left Coast Forum, then you really missed out. An insightful presentation from Professor Richard Wolff, a call to action from LA Mayor Karen Bass, an insider's view on Prop 50 and the government shutdown from Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove, and as usual, Dr. Cornel West brought down the House with a powerful closing keynote. And many of the plenary sessions were standing room only. Check out our social media posts for photos and video of what you missed at the Left Coast Forum and make plans to attend one of our upcoming events. Our next Altadena Town Hall is Thursday, November 6th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena. We're going to interrogate SoCal Edison's settlement fund and see what's really going on with this fire recovery program. And our KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair is Saturday, November the 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here in Lemert Park at Catch at Audubon Middle School. All the details about these upcoming events can be found at our website, kbla1580.com. So thanks again to all those who supported the Left Coast Forum, and a special thanks to our partners this year. The LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, Partnership for Growth, UTLA, LA Care Health Plan, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and the Liberty Hill Foundation.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
All right, so we talked about the cracks on the right vis-a-vis this iteration of government shutdown, that private GOP call that spilled out yesterday afternoon, and some of the tension that took place in that call amongst Republicans about their shutdown strategy. So those are the cracks on the right, but there are also cracks on the left. The top federal workers union made a break with Democrats on the shutdown yesterday. I told you during the show yesterday, when this news broke while I was live on the air, that we would effort to get him on the show today, and I am grateful that we indeed can bring you a conversation right now with Everett Kelley, president of the American Federation of Government Employees. I don't like selling wolf tickets, but I jumped out there saying I would get him. Wasn't sure that I could, but thank God for Jesus. He's here to explain why his union is calling for an end to the shutdown without the health care measures sought by Democrats. Everett Kelley, thank you for taking my phone call, sir. Good to have you back on this program.
Good to be back, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So let me just give you a few minutes here. I'm going to stand down and turn my microphone off because there are a lot of people trying to understand what y'all did yesterday and why you did what you did yesterday. Take it away.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that you got to look back 9 months and see all of the issues that federal employees have been facing, starting with DOGE, starting with the fact that they were saying they're going to take chainsaws and they're going to just rip up the government. I represent 820,000 federal and D.C. government workers that have been going through pure hell for the last 9 months. You know, even threatening in all of those types of things. Then there come the rifts, okay? We filed lawsuits, and we've been winning those lawsuits. Matter of fact, you know, we just won one PI on yesterday. You know, the judge said that what this administration is doing is absolutely wrong. But then the shutdown come. And as a result of this shutdown, you know, people are beginning to get to the point to where they are hungry. I woke up on last Thursday morning and I saw people that I represent standing in line to get food. And I knew that something has to change. And the only way, because no one was talking to each other. And so I said, you know what, I got to be the one to shake the bush. I got to be the one to say, you know, we got to bring this shutdown to the end. And so that's what I did. I did it for the sake of the members that I represent. They're just like the rest of America. 65% of America live from paycheck to paycheck. And the members that I represent, they're no different. And so my objective is to try to get two sides talking so that we can get government workers back to the job and the services that the American people deserve and that they want can be provided.
So I hear your point about wanting to move in a way that would help get these two sides talking. But as you well know, part of the Republican strategy, Everett, Mr. Kelley, has been one, to stay out of session. So Republicans ain't that interested. They control the gavel. They're the majority. They've deliberately stayed out of session, and they have deliberately refused to negotiate, to talk to Democrats. So I hear your point about wanting to get both sides talking, but it's Republicans who are refusing to talk. It's Republicans refusing to come back into session. And so to those persons listening right now who understand the pain, let me be very clear about this. For those listening right now who understand absolutely the pain that your union members are feeling, how do you respond to those who say that this decision by you yesterday sold out Democrats?
It has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. It has to do with, me. I'm elected to represent federal employees, and that's what's my concern. I've spoken to the members that I represent through phone calls, through polling, and they said they're tired of the shutdown. They said they are tired of the fact that they're used as pawns over and over and over again, and they want it to stop. Now, I do think that there is some movement, because I think that what we did is kind of shook the tree, and now there is some talk among both sides about whether or not federal employees should be used as pawns anymore in this game, and that's my objective.
Yep. So when I asked that question about selling out Democrats, while we understand the pain that your union members are feeling, make no mistake about it, no question about that. There's pain that Americans all across the board would be feeling if there were this so-called clean resolution without health care measures that Democrats have drawn a line in the sand over. These health care costs, we've already seen it. The open enrollment is about to happen. We've already seen the numbers escalating on what health care is going to cost Americans all across the country. So 860,000 members in your union, I get that. Everyone a precious soul, that pain is real, and I get it. But there are 300 million Americans, many of whom Democrats would argue that they are standing in defense of with regard to their health care. So this government shutdown may benefit your 860,000 members. But when I asked the question about selling out Democrats, if government reopens and Democrats lose this fight over health care, are you at all concerned about all the other Americans who are going to be in harm's way?
Tavis, I am concerned about every American.
Right.
I am born and raised without health care. Okay? So I understand. But this issue is that I'm concerned with it's not about health care. It's about the people that I represent. I think that health care has to be addressed in this country. I think that has to be a part of what the discussion is all about. I am not in no way saying that that's not important, because it is. But it should not be on the backs of federal employees. Federal employees should not be held hostage as this unfolds.
Tell me more about you sort of top line this. Tell me more about this vote. You top lined it, you referenced it. Tell me more about what your internal polling is telling you about the attitude, about the disposition right now of your members.
Well, 7-1, my members are saying that they should not be used as pawns in a political game. And that, that they should not, because you got to understand, this is things that have been happening over the years, and they're absolutely tired of it.
Yeah.
But the polling shows 7-1 that federal employees do not want to be used as pawns, in this game. And when I talk to people moving throughout the country, they're saying the exact same thing. Let
me ask you a question. I hear the language you're using, and I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just asking you a question because I want to be clear that you and I and the audience are on the same page. I can understand very clearly how there might be a vote inside your union or numbers that suggest that 7-1, your union members don't want to be used as pawns. I get that. Nobody wants to be a pawn. But I want to be clear that I'm asking the right question and you give me the right answer. Are you telling me that 7-1 is the ratio of your union members who wanted you to do what you did yesterday?
I believe that's the correct number, yes.
Okay. That's a strong number, man.
It is.
7-1 said go ahead and demand that government reopen without health care measures that these Democrats are seeking. That's a strong number.
Everyone is concerned about health care.
Right.
I am. I'm very much concerned about health care. I think that's an issue this country has to take up, but not at the whim and not on the backs of federal employees
Yeah.
who are working every day to provide a service for the American people.
Nope, I get it.
I mean, just think about it. You know, how many would say that they want to work without getting paid?
Mm-hmm.
How many people want to do that?
Yeah. Yep.
The people that I represent don't want to do it either.
Yep. No, I get that. When we come forward, I'm so grateful that Everett Kelley took my phone call again. This is big news, some of the biggest news in Washington yesterday, because it represented a major moment, a major shift, a major crack, if you will, in this conversation. And so everybody's trying to get Everett Kelley, and I'm, again, honored and humbled that he took my phone call and agreed to come on this program today. I'm deeply, deeply moved by that. When we come forward, though, I do want to interrogate this 7-1 number, and here's why. Because if that number is 7-1, that makes a huge statement about the Democratic base. This union or its members, this union and its members tend to vote Democratic. And Republicans have been no friend of unions in this country for quite some time, as we all know. And so what I'm pushing toward is a conversation, a better understanding about what this number of 7-1 inside this major union says about where Democrats are, writ large. I'm talking about Democratic voters on the strategy that's being imposed by their party right now. I'm sensing and feeling a major disconnect, if you feel me, around that 7-1 number. We'll talk about it when we come forward with Everett Kelley on Tavis. Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Everett B. Kelley, who we're honored to have on this program. He made all kinds of major news yesterday. Everybody covering his statement. He's president of the American Federation of Government Employees, and we invited him on to explain, as he has, why his union, AFGE, is calling on Congress to end the shutdown. But to do that would mean that the health care measures that Democrats have been fighting for would not be realized. He's made the point very clearly, I get it, you get it, that his members are suffering, and somewhere around 7-1, they support the statement that he made yesterday calling for this government shutdown to end. Now, here's the point. If Democrats were, in fact, to come back to the table, you said earlier it ain't about Republicans or Democrats. I take your point in theory. But if Democrats were to come back to the table, and what they've been demanding around health care for all Americans, gets pushed to the side, a fight they have to fight at a later time, which they may or may not get to, they may or may not win, because they don't control anything in Congress right now. There'd be many people who'd be suffering if Democrats, I believe, didn't win this particular fight. So it's one way to look at it, as you said, Everett, and I hear your point. One way to look at it is your union members don't want to be used as a pawn in this fight. I get that. The other way to look at it is, what about taking one for the team? What about, standing strong, standing firm for the greater good? Does that not resonate at all?
Of course that resonates. You got to understand, that I myself has gone through periods of my life when I didn't have adequate insurance. I understand. Mm-hmm. That is not the issue here, right?
Right.
In my opinion, that's an issue that we have to address. I'm not trying to downplay that at all.
Right.
It is absolutely necessary. However, it should not be done holding federal employees hostage. That's my point. It needs, and I don't care which party it is.
Right.
No party had the right to hold Americans hostage while they negotiate policy.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't happen. And the people that I represent, it shouldn't happen to them either.
Yeah.
Because they're not seeing this as a partisan issue. What they're seeing is this, young mothers, single mothers, don't have a paycheck coming in,
right,
but they got children
yeah,
that's got to eat.
Yeah.
They're seeing that they got a mortgage that has to be paid.
Yeah.
They're seeing that I got to go to work,
yeah,
but I'm not getting paid. Yeah. So how do I get there? They got to get gas to go in the car. These are real live issues that they are facing every single day, and that's what they are wanting me to address.
Let me ask you a question real quick here. Does your union endorse candidates?
Sure.
Did you endorse in the last election?
Sure we did.
Who did you endorse?
For president?
Yes.
I endorsed Kamala Harris. First, I endorsed
Joe Biden.
President Biden, and then when he dropped out, I endorsed Kamala Harris and
over Trump. Got it.
Governor Walz.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay, so here's when we come forward in our remaining moments. I want to just make sure I was right about my memory. If my memory served me correctly, I thought that they endorsed Kamala Harris, this union, American Federation of Government Employees, which leads me straight to the last question, my exit question I want to ask. If this union and so many other unions have supported Democrats and supported Kamala Harris and Joe Biden prior to in this last election, what does it say about the Democratic base that one of its strongest constituencies is now saying, we know you're fighting for health care, but it's time for this shutdown to end? One of the strongest constituencies. We know the most loyal base in the Democratic Party is who? Black folk. We are the most loyal base. And we also make up a lot of these union members. We're union members. We're the most loyal base, but the Democratic Party wouldn't be anywhere near where it is right now if they still weren't holding on to not just black support, but union support. But here's a major union that endorsed Kamala, that endorsed Biden, that is now 7-1 saying the shutdown has gone on long enough, reopen government. I get the argument they don't want to be used as a pawn, but here's what I'm trying to juxtapose right quick. If I'm rambling, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to juxtapose in my own mind what it means that this union, 7-1, says reopen government, deal with health care somewhere down the road. Trying to juxtapose that with the, speaking of 7, the 7 million people that we saw in these protests at the last No Kings rallies. So these No Kings protesters are saying, don't you dare. The No Kings protesters are saying to Democrats, don't you dare bend the knee for Republicans and Donald Trump. That's what I'm seeing at these rallies, but I'm hearing and seeing something else now from a major union. Do you see the disconnect? I do. We'll talk about it with Everett Kelley when we come forward in our remaining moments with him on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Everett Kelley, Everett B. Kelley, president of the American Federation of Government Employees. I got 2.5 minutes here. So, Everett, during that break, I just wanted to refresh my memory. I just put up my phone, and I'm looking at more headlines than I can count. And I'm not suggesting that the headlines are an accurate depiction of your position, but you take my point. Headlines everywhere yesterday when you made this announcement that this decision by AFGE, the largest federal workers union, puts pressure on Democrats, that it supports, it gives aid and comfort to Republicans and to Donald Trump, who want Democrats to acquiesce. And so you said earlier it's not about Republicans or Democrats, but the way this thing is being played and being written about is that it does, in fact, help Republicans and help Donald Trump. You all endorsed Kamala in the last election. So here's my exit question with 1.5 minutes to go. What do you want Democrats to do at this point?
Well, at this point, I just want to see the government open. It's not about Democrats, not about Republicans, because that was not my intent.
Right.
My intent was to say, look, these employees have gone without a paycheck long enough. It's time for the games to stop being played with these employees. And I listen to what my members are saying.
Right.
I've been gathering, data just this last couple of days. 2,000 comments come in. Okay, 7% of it is hold the line. The rest of it is, we need you to fight for our paycheck. We need you to fight, for federal employees. That's what I'm dealing with. I represent Democrats and Republicans in this union, and I've never, ever made a decision based strictly on partisan politics.
I get it.
That's just not it. Every shutdown that has ever been, whether it was done through a Democrat or Republican leadership, I have opposed a shutdown. I will always oppose a shutdown because federal employees should never be used as pawns and ploys in this game.
I take your point. I close on this note. I mentioned those headlines, so I'm not making this up. NBC News apparently got the news first about this yesterday. I read their headline. Largest federal workers union calls for an end to the shutdown, putting pressure on Democrats. In a statement first shared with NBC News, the American Federation of Government Employees president calls on Congress to pass a clean continuing resolution, and there is the rub. Everett Kelley, I promise to talk to you again. I'm out of time right now, but thanks for coming on today, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley, a conversation for the hour with Vanessa Bell Calloway when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,